Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome you home to USA Global TV and Radio. Welcome to our worldwide audience. This is a brand new show that we are super excited to present to you with a brand new team member. Our team member is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her in a moment. Our show is Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living. What does this mean? You're going to find out. So thank you for taking this journey with us. Let's welcome Zane Carson Carruth. I've known Zane for a number of years, and I just have to share this quick story. Because of Zane, this platform has grown to where it is today. Zane was to come in for an interview when I was on another platform, and she dialed in remotely. Her books were there on the coffee table. I looked at them, and I thought, oh my goodness, I really want to have her on my radio show. Long story short, something came up and I said, Zane, could you please refer me to someone because we need to fill this slot? And she referred me to Diane Floyd-Boehm, who's a huge part of this platform. Why do I bring this up? Because that's part of being someone who has manners, who lives their life with elegance, somebody who says, okay, let me see what I can do to help you. Let me fulfill my obligation. So without further ado, let's welcome Zane to the program. Zane Carson Carruth, welcome.
Hi. It's great to be here today.
It's so nice to have you today. And, for people who haven't met you before, you are a certified etiquette and protocol professional. You're also an award-winning international author. And we're doing this show together, Zane. I'm super excited. What is it that made you say to yourself, okay, this sounds like something great that I want to do?
Well, because the possibilities are endless. The people that I can have on here are endless. I have a lot of acquaintances that live lives that I would like to explore and introduce to everybody. And it's just a wonderful platform to get your message out. And who doesn't like elegance living, manners, being polite, saying yes, please, thank you. Anyway, so I'm very excited to take part in this today.
Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Welcome to all of our new viewers all around the world. We are thrilled to have you with us today. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living. The star of our show is here with us. She is backstage. Let's welcome the lovely, the vivacious Zane Carson Carruth. Hello, Zane. Welcome.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. How are you?
I'm thrilled to see you. It's been a little while, and I know you are busy doing so many things. For people who haven't met you before, you are a certified etiquette and protocol professional. You're also an award-winning international author, and you are a philanthropist and a humanitarian, and we are going to dive into that a little bit deeper today. Zane, what have you been up to since we saw you a month or so ago?
Well, besides traveling a lot, we travel a lot. I've been working on a lot of projects. My husband and I are chairing the Theater Under the Stars, the Tuts Gala. That's a lot of preparation, a lot of work. just been doing some other things involved in philanthropy because I serve on the board of Discovery Green, and that's a lot of boots on the ground type stuff, as well as the SPCA. So I've just been living my life besides promoting my books. And Neiman's has picked up my books and made a little pair of pajamas out of them. So I'm excited about that. But just really promoting my books myself in the great city of Houston.
Fantastic. And we actually have a visual here for the pajamas and the books. Neiman Marcus Houston is going to be welcoming you, Zane, on Saturday, October the 14th. Tell everybody how they can get involved with this Books to Bed and the world's first tooth fairy ever.
Well, it's a great program because they have selected a bunch of classic books like Madeline, The Little Engine That Could, Love You to the Moon and Back. And then they take the illustrations from the books and they put them on pajamas, like what you just saw a minute ago. And you can go online and just pick out. They just have maybe a dozen of them. And it's a lot of fun. And they're all in various sizes. Each pajama set has its own different sizes. Mine are size 2 to 10. But you buy the books and the pajamas, they come as a package. And it's a great grandmother gift. It's a great shower gift. It's a great gift. If you want to make a special impression on somebody with their new little baby or little child, it's worth looking into. And it's been very highly successful. And I'm thrilled to be included in these incredible books.
We are super excited for you as well. And Zane, I know there's a backstory behind how you actually got into Neiman's. People are probably thinking, oh, she had this high-end publicist do some work, but it was your boots on the ground. Tell us about that.
Well, it was the grace of God. That's all there was to it. My husband and I were invited to go to this political event, and it was going to take place on the field of Minute Maid Park where they play the baseball, the Astros. And Brady didn't want to go, but I said, no, I want to go. I want to stand on that field. So just chatting around, milling around with other people, I ran across this lady who recognized me from a function that I'd been to. And so we got to talking. And so everybody said, well, what are you up to? And she goes, well, I work for Neiman's. And I go, I have been trying to get Neiman's to set up a book signing for me and my books. I can't tell you for how long. I just don't know who to contact anymore. She goes, well, that would be me. So long story short, we set up to have lunch, and I met her at the lunch. And that's when she told me, she says, well, we'll do the book signing, but we also want to include your books in our Books to Bed program. She sent it to all of the people ahead of those departments, and they fell in love with my books. And they said, how did we not know about these books? So anyway, it fell in my lap. It was the grace of God, because had we not been there, I would have never met this lady. Even though I guess I'd met her before, I'd seen her at another function, but it was just one of those things that was just meant to be.
It's such an incredible story, especially for someone like me who's an author. I can only dream of something like that happening. And you made it happen. Not only did you go to this event, you actually spoke up and you followed through. And I think that's where people get lost. They want to make an effort. They want something to happen, but they don't actually see it through. And so you're seeing things through all the time. The title of our show, Elegance, Polished Demeanor, Posh Living, conveys some ideas for some people that a lifestyle of elegance and being polished and being posh is an easy one, and that it's only for certain people. And if you have that kind of lifestyle, you don't have any problems. You don't have any issues. But that's exactly false, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because so many times people automatically don't like you. They don't even know you, but they read things about you in the paper, or they have these preconceived notions. So it's actually harder because, one, you have to win people over just to get to know you for who you are. And sometimes it can be a struggle. It really can. It's not as easy as people think it is. That's for sure. Or it hadn't been in my situation or my case.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I have a dear friend who they travel with a team of priests, and they're traveling constantly, and people are always asking them for money. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants to be their friend. And so I know that for my friend and her husband, it's literally exhausting to do what they do. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the work that you do in philanthropy. And if you can just give our audience, if they're hearing the word for the first time, what does it mean? And how do you tie that back to humanitarianism? Because they're really connected.
Well, one thing I don't think people realize is how much good philanthropy does for a city. And I'll give you an example. My little grandson had to go to the hospital, and we were at Texas Children's in the waiting room, and we were a nervous wreck because he was not getting better as we were waiting. He was getting worse. So people don't realize that the huge difference that individual philanthropy does for a city. And another huge example is we have a park here called Discovery Green. It started out literally as a parking lot, a cement parking lot. And it's like 12 acres. And they took it and they raised all this money, private money, not the government, the city, nothing, but private families and foundations donated millions. And now this park rivals Central Park. It's one of the nicest parks in the United States, and other big cities come to Discovery Green just to check out our park. That would not be possible without private money. And I think people have such a different idea about, they go, oh, those people just donate money to keep from paying taxes. That's not true. That's clearly not true, because you pay your taxes first. Then what's left over, you can donate, you can give, you can share, you pay your bills. So it's really, sometimes some people just have a bad idea about that, or they just they have no idea where these private dollars come from and what they do and what they bring to a city, because it enhances everyone's life. Like I said, you go from the hospital to a park and everything in between. So they're to be applauded. They really are the generous people in this city. A memorial park, one family donated $40 million, totally revamped memorial park. It's fabulous now. It's not from the city. It's not from the government. It's from individuals.
Wow, that's incredible. That's eye-opening. I'm sure some people had no idea about that. And Zane, you also talked about earlier being involved with putting on events or attending events or being on various boards. There's so much work that's involved with that. I don't think people have any idea. When you're asked to chair an event or host an event, one of the things that comes along with that typically is raising funds, is bringing in money. And it's hard. I know from the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, it's hard to ask people for money, isn't it?
Yes, because you have your core group, and you can't hit them up all the time. I know we're asked to chair a lot of galas, and Brady goes, no, we can't do 2 or 3 in a row. We can't keep going back to our friends. Plus it's expensive for the chair, because you have to buy a sizable table and get people to fill it. And it's a lot of work, a lot of meetings, a tremendous amount of time is involved. The meetings. Yes. I mean, just sitting on a board, you've got about a meeting a month that can be 2 hours. It just depends on the board. And those add up. It is a huge commitment for time, energy, talent, finances. It's not for the faint of heart.
So, Zane, what can you share with our viewers and our listeners? They get invited to an event and they buy a ticket, they buy a table, they show up, they've got the gown on, and then they see the people who are chairing the event and they think, oh, they just put the dress on, they had their hair done, they had makeup done. But even that night or that day of the gala, there's pressure. You've got to walk around and speak to everyone and make sure the thing's going well. That's a lot more than getting hair and makeup and nails done, putting on a dress.
But yeah, because you're responsible. It is a lot of pressure, because you're responsible if the food doesn't turn out, or if people don't like it, or if the music bombs, or if people don't show up. Or sometimes people say, yeah, I'll sit at your table. Say, okay, good. I've got a table of 8. I've got 8 people coming. You'd be surprised at the people that are no-shows for something as important as that. So then then the restaurant or whoever caters it has to change all of the plates and change it from an 8 top to a 6 top or a 7 top. It's yes, it's just a whole lot more fun to be a guest at these galas than to chair it, because it's just a lot of responsibility, and you are tense because it matters. People are looking at you to get the numbers up. Then not only that, you have to get on stage and you have to say something. And if you don't like public speaking, then you're in a world of hurt. You have to, introduce who you're honoring that night, or talk about the cause. And yes, it's very stressful until after you've gotten off stage and they've served the food and everything is good and the dessert's good, and then you can relax. And then when the band comes on, you just blow off steam. Just literally, we just blow off steam. It's almost comical.
And there's also that pressure to promote the event in advance of the event, right? You've got to get out there and tell people this is coming up, because there's so many different causes that it's a challenge to get the mindset of people to pay attention to the causes that you're representing as well.
Well, that's right. And then you expect, or you assume, all of the board members are going to either attend the gala or donate something. But you'd be surprised that sometimes they don't. So you've got to go after them, that should just be a given. But yeah, it is. Then you worry about, is this going to get the right amount of press, and is there enough the media people going to cover it? And then you've got to invite the media people to sit at your table. If you want really good coverage, you invite them to sit at your table. Well, so then that means maybe your best friend can't come because the MC's sitting at your table, the media, and it's a lot of balls in the air. It's a juggling act, to be sure.
And you're literally on the entire time. It's the smile,
Yes.
walking around,
Yes.
hello. Putting on your best listening ears. So, Zane, why do you do it then? Why do you keep showing up for all these different causes with a smile on your face?
Well, for one, I don't know. I mean, like for the SPCA, I just love animals, and I do, especially dogs, just do what I can. And my mother, I mean, when we were little bitty before Christmas, we would go around and we would donate to families in need. We would just walk up to their houses with gifts. And, that was back in a small town when you could do stuff like that and they'd actually let you in. So, and I grew up in a community where there were a lot of harvest workers, and you just saw how they lived. And we have been so blessed, and you have to give back. Well, one, Jesus tells you to, but you just have to give back. And you just want to, because it makes the world a better place. Just the letters that these different organizations get, people will tell them, like say something that they celebrated something at Discovery Green. Well, that's a memory they'll have the rest of their life, and they'll tell you about it. Or they've adopted this little dog that had been so abused. And so you fight for those without a voice. And it just gets in your blood. I mean, and Brady's a big proponent. His family's been very philanthropic. His parents gave and gave and gave. And so Brady was raised that way. So, it's just, luckily we feel the same that way, but it's just part of you. It's just ingrained in you, and it's just stamped on your heart.
That's a powerful bond to have as a couple. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, otherwise we'd be fighting about money all the time. What do you mean you want to give all that money away? Because Brady always says, we'd be rich if we didn't give so much money away. Like, well, okay, but this is coming up.
Zane, I want to talk a little bit more about your event that's coming up in October, because that's also work. So not only did you do the groundwork to get into Neiman's, but you have to show up and you have to deliver. You have to have a smile on your face, and you have to be conversational, and you have to be engaging. So how do you prepare in advance mentally for this event that's coming up?
Well, it's a huge responsibility, because they are stepping out on a leap of faith with this little pajama project. And I have notified every single human being in my email list, everybody I know to promote it, because it matters to me that it's successful. Not so much for me, but I don't want to let Neiman's down. I don't want to let my friend Heather down, who is running that department. And yeah, I'm going to take ads out in the paper. I'm taking an ad out in several things just to promote it myself. And I know Neiman's will promote it too, but I feel like it's my responsibility as well to do everything I possibly can to make this successful, because I want them to be proud that they did this and happy that they did this. Because, you know, I'm known locally somewhat, but not like some of these other books. And that meant a lot to me that they did that. And I want to honor them in the same way of giving 110% that I can. So I'm very appreciative of anyone who buys a book in a pair of pajamas. You won't regret it.
Well, your passion is obviously coming through. And as I shared with you, I'm going to buy a pair for my little niece, great niece. I hope she's not going to be watching. I don't want to spoil it. But for people who are they're not in the local area, what can they do? There's an email address here. Can they email and get something sent to them? How does it work?
Well, you just go, it's not on their site yet. We're still getting everything set up. They have a books to bed. Neiman's has a books to bed icon you can click on. But for right now, you can just email rsvphouston@neimanmarcus.com and reserve your pajama set. And then if you want a book to be dedicated to a certain person, then, I'll sign it when I'm there. And then when they mail it to you, then you'll get it all at once. So that's the best way to do it until it gets online.
Fantastic. Well, we wish you a lot of success with that. And when this does become really successful, this event, do you envision yourself traveling around to other Neimans?
Yes. Matter of fact, I sent them my travel schedule and said, oh, look, I will be in this Neiman city this date, this Neiman's. I'm waiting to get the go-ahead from Neiman's. I guess they're going to see how well Houston does first, but
yeah, that's exciting.
No, I think it'll do well, because who doesn't love little fairies? And every child loses their tooth, and it's a perfect present for some little child who's lost a tooth. The world's first tooth fairy, you'll never have to wonder.
No, absolutely not. And with the holidays coming up, it's a perfect time. It's a perfect gift. I love the combination.
Yes. Yeah.
So one of the other things that you love to do that you're passionate about is to write columns. Tell us about that.
Well, I love etiquette. Always have. I was a little kid. They called me Emily Post. I was probably obnoxious about it, but I really enjoy writing articles for magazines. I'm not yippee skippy crazy about teaching etiquette classes, but I love to write articles. And a lot of times I'll have a magazine contact me and say, we're looking for an article about manners for children writing thank you notes, or how do you RSVP for a party and what happens if you don't, and just different things like that. And I'm happy to write an article about anything, just give it enough time. You need 3 or 4 days to get something like that done, depending on how many word count it is. But my dream would be to have a syndicated column, but I need to, do a little more work on that, contact a few more magazines to see if I can't make that happen. But that's my other passion, is writing.
It's going to happen. That's for sure. Zane, a question that I have for you is, for people out there who were not brought up as philanthropists, they're not aware of etiquette and manners, is there any time in life when it's too late to learn? Because these are all really important things that equate to emotional intelligence and respect and kindness. What are your thoughts? Is it something that anyone can embrace if they're open to doing so?
Oh, yes. It's never too late for anything, actually. And you just really have to find what you're passionate about. And it doesn't have to be numerous things. You can just find one thing you're passionate about. If you love kids, you can find any kind of charity or work that you can get involved in, donating your time. I mean, you don't have to spend money. You can donate your time. Just like with the SPCA, they're always looking for volunteers to walk the dogs, to feed the dogs. All of these charities are looking for volunteers. So you just have to start there and you'll find what you're looking for because it's out there.
Absolutely. You just have to have the passion. And also we talk a lot about this on this platform, is that you're not alone. And if there's something that you want to do, there's somebody else out there who's doing it. Reach out to them. Just like when you took that opportunity to talk about what it was you wanted to do with your books, and there was a knock at the door and somebody answered, and now look at where you're going.
Who knew? I know. Yes, that was, and I made several really great contacts that night. It was just meant for me to be there because I consider that lady my friend now, and a good friend, because she has been so sweet to me. But yeah, you just have to carry your business cards with you, or don't be afraid to ask. So what? People say no to me all the time. Believe me, I get many more no's than I get yeses. So that's just life for you. But you never stop asking for what you need or what you want in a nice way.
Absolutely. And, Zane, on this particular show, Elegance, you've had some great guests already. The Vintage Contessa, she was on. I'm following her, by the way.
And she have a fascinating life.
Yes, she does. She absolutely does. And then your friend who sells the private planes. That was an amazing show also. What can people expect on future episodes? What types of guests or stories will be forthcoming?
Well, I've got 2 newscasters. One is already signed up. One is a newscaster in Albany, New York, and the other one is a meteorologist here in Houston, Texas. And then another lady is an interior decorator. And then the guy who wrote my song for my little video, 3D video, Dennis Scott. He's a 2-time Emmy Award winner. No, Grammy. Grammy's the music. He's going to be on my show. So I've just been promoting it. And then I've got a lady who is a trainer, a nutritionist and a trainer. She's going to be on there. So we've got some fun people lined up. And if there's somebody you'd like to see, I am happy to try to find that guest. So just drop me a line at info@zanecarruth.com and I'll see what I can do. Or if you have a question about any of these guests coming up, I'm happy to ask them because, everybody loves to talk about their craft, and it's fun to have these kind of questions, sincere, heartfelt questions. So I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely fantastic. Zane, before we close out for today, I would love to share my screen and show your website. It's so beautiful and filled with so much great information.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So people can get to your website through your name. They can either go to zanecarsoncarruth.com or zanecarruth.com. And while we're here, what would you like us to focus on?
Well, just focus on the pajamas. Just go to RSVP, Houston at NeimanMarcus.com and get a pair of pajamas for that little child that's special in your life. And just keep reading to your children and keep buying books and reading books for yourself or renting books or go to the library. All good options.
And here we have your books. So do you want to share a little bit about these?
Yes, all of my books are also in Spanish, and that's been very, being in Houston, like in Texas where we are, that's been very successful. But there's 5 in the series. The world's first tooth fairy. She starts a tooth fairy school. She gets her little magic wand. She goes to the rodeo, and then the last one, she gets a new hairdo, which that's a hoot. If you ever had a home perm, you can relate to that book.
Will there be any future books for Abella?
Yes, my next one that I'm working on right here is She Meets a Racehorse, because we have some racehorses and I just love them so much, and I want to immortalize them by putting them in my book. But little Abella will go and meet. That's my boxer. That's my racehorse, and then his mom, giant boxer, who was a very successful racehorse. So that's my next one. I just need to slow down long enough and start writing, because you have to get in the zone. It's, for it to be decent. Good. Anyway.
Absolutely. All right. So here are Zane's books. Please go and pick them up. I have all the books, I think, except Abella Gets a New Hairdo. I need to get that one.
Oh, that's a hoot. Oh my gosh. I wrote that strictly from memory, childhood memory.
It brings back memories for me too. When I had a bad perm, that's another story.
Did your mom used to give you perms?
No, I went and got it at the salon and they put, I don't even know what those things were, those wand things that, it was something.
No, we would go to Rexall Drug and buy the box perm, and my mother would be so excited. It never turned out, never. I mean, not never, but we never stopped trying until, I think I was an adult when I had my last one. I think Brittany was like 2 years old. Yeah, I just have straight hair. That's it. It is what it is.
I think it's so bad for your hair, those perms. I don't know. I'm not a hairdresser, but Zane, this has been another fun, informative episode. So thank you so much for being here today. What would you like to say to the audience as we sign off for this episode?
Well, nothing. Thank you for joining our show. Please tune in. And again, if you have a special guest you want me to bring on my show or any questions that you would like to ask, just info@zanecarruth.com and I'll get right back to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing you again next month. And thank you to all of our E360 viewers and, of course, everybody on USA Global TV and Radio. We really appreciate you being here. Bye for now.
Bye.
This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of the world's first tooth fairy ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.